And hello there, welcome to today's United Kingdom talk. Chris Reardon with you for the next just under an hour. If you're watching, you'll know already I've had a haircut. 2 new visual effects today. Number 1, I've had a haircut. And is this microphone thing in the way? I think it is it? Is this sorry, is that in the way today? I'm not quite sure I'm completely set. Just a minute. There we are. Let's just move that round a bit there and... perhaps that's a bit better. I've just realised a bit of metal in the way, isn't there? How rude is that? It's like hiding behind a tree in the woods. It really is. I often walk through the woods hoping people are hiding in the trees. I never come across any, unfortunately. Anyway, I've had a haircut, yes. Number 1 around the sides and back, and number 2 on the top. I'm looking hard today, boys and girls. I am looking hard. Now, don't muck with me, okay? Don't muck with me, because I've got a hard haircut now. No one would dare cross my path at the moment. I think so. Not only have I a haircut, but the first of my new shirts has arrived. A nice Ben Sherman. It's like a black shirt with like little white squares on it. It's not a checked. I wouldn't say that's a checked one. Would you say that's checked? No, checks are different colours, aren't they? It's like a black shirt with little white squares on it. Very nice indeed. From, you know where I buy my clothes from, don't you? Yes, eBay. I've ordered 1 or 2 shirts. There's about 5 or 6 of them on the way altogether. All from eBay, and this is the first one. Oh, what's eBay? Joy in Acton is wondering what eBay is. It's like an online auction thing, Joy. Or what? It's a bit like, I tell you what, it's a bit like a jumble sale. It's a bit like a jumble sale, and people put on there their unwanted items, some new, some second-hand, and people bid for them, and you can win them. And I have won this nice black Ben Sherman shirt. There are a few others on the way. Now, you don't always win, unfortunately, with eBay. If someone puts in a higher bid, then they can win as well. But if say I'm just explaining this for Joy because she's not very technically savvy. She gets very upset, don't you, Joy, when I start talking about technical things and she gets lost. So with the eBay, you put in your bid. Say it's £6. I don't know, it's £6. Okay, and then you get an email back saying, okay, your bid is now £6. You are in the lead. Now, they have a cut-off point, right, to when the bidding stops and someone wins the item, which could be an hour, it could be a few minutes, it could be a few days. It just depends when someone put the item on the eBay site to sell. So that's how it works. Now, if after you've bid, someone else bids, and they bid higher than you, then they become the winner at that moment in time. And then you get an email back saying, sorry, someone's bid higher than you. Do you want to bid again? And that's how it works. I have already, unfortunately, lost a couple of shirts because I wouldn't bid high enough. But that's okay. You see, you can get into this thing. You can kind of get into this thing where you're bidding against a couple of people and you get to the point where you're determined to win it no matter what. And what can happen if you start thinking like that is you actually end up paying more for the item on eBay than you would have done in a shop. So you've got to be very, very careful. You've got to be disciplined, that's the word. And I am your man. If you want any discipline from me, anyone, just let me know and I shall appear in my black leather dominatrix outfit for you. I will do. If you need to be told, I'm the one to tell you. Of course, there will be a fee involved for that, all right? So that's how it works. And this lovely black shirt cost me about £9 altogether. I think £11 with the postal fee, or £11.50, something like that, about $22. So I'm quite happy with this one. This one was a brand new one. Would I buy a second-hand shirt? Yeah, probably. I'll probably buy a second-hand shirt, yeah. Second-hand, I don't know about second-hand electrical goods. That worries me a little bit because, if it doesn't work, there is always the possibility that you won't be able to get hold of the person selling the item. Although eBay, I gather, are pretty strict on that. If you have a problem, I think they do do something with that. I'd be interested to know, actually, if anyone's ever had any problems with buying or selling stuff on eBay. If you have, please let me know. The email address of the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Good way. It's a good way of getting items cheaper. I mean, it really is. And there's everything on there, but you must be aware of fakes. Now, this to me does look like an original Ben Sherman shirt. Okay? But there are fake ones on there as well. They got fake everything, fake, fake medicines and fake designer clothes and all that. It's all on there. I have had shirts before that look original, but then when you look more closely, they're not. But quite frankly, that doesn't bother me too much. As long as they look all right, I'm not bothered about a label. I'm not someone who pays an arm and a leg just for the sake of having Yves Saint Laurent written on the shirt or Ralph Lauren or something like that. Don't get me wrong now, very, very good quality clothing, but in my opinion, way, way overpriced. I was in Bentl's, which is our department store, only the other day, and they had I walked past these. I thought, oh, that's a nice shirt. £90, dear. $180 for one shirt? I don't think so. That's not coming out of Chris Reardon's pocket, dear. God's sake, 90 quid for a shirt. And then I looked at the swimming trunks, because my swimming trunks, they're used, 5 times a week. So they only last about 6 months, and I have to get a new pair because due to the bulging muscles. What you wondered what I was going to say then? Muscles, that's what I was going to say. Or what did you think I was going to say? Due to the bulging muscles in my leg, I do have trouble pulling these swimming trunks over the muscles in my leg. What a good job I don't have to wear a jacket as well, dear. You'd never get them over these biceps, I'm telling you that now. But they had swimming trunks in Bentl's as well. £22, dear. £22 for a pair of swimming trunks. It's outrageous. And people buy these things. You go on eBay, you get them for £10. Absolutely, £10. My friend Ron, my best friend Ronnie, he just bought a pair of shorts last week. 75, I think, was it £85 for a pair of shorts? £85 for a pair. He's off his trolley. I'm telling you now, off his trolley. There's no way I'd pay that for a pair of shorts. £85, dear. God's sake. These people have got more money than sense. I went round to see my mate. Was it last night, actually? I had a night off. And went round to see Ron. And, I don't know, we were talking about... Because he likes everything in place in his house. Everything is perfect. There's 6 pictures on the wall. 3 above and 3 below. There are 4 pictures on the shelf, all neat. Perfectly in place. The cushions keep getting puffed up on the settee. I'm sure I've told you on this. I found something else about him last night. Right? And that is, he has trouble sleeping if the sheets are creased. I mean, have you ever heard anything like it, dear? He irons his sheets. Now, I know there's a few people out there listening to the show who also iron sheets. My mum used to do it. I just don't see the point. I'm sorry. I just don't get it. Why would you want to waste time ironing sheets? They get creased up when you get in there, don't they? I don't understand it. He has trouble sleeping. If he pulls back the bed covers and there's a crease in the sheet, he has to adjust that before he gets in it. God's sake. What is it with these people? His tea and his coffee and his, sugar containers, they're all neatly laid out on the kitchen table. Oh, I don't know, dear. Even in the food cupboards, like, everything is neat and tidy. Might just chuck everything in mine. What's yours like? What's your food cupboard like? Do you take pride in keeping a nice, tidy food cupboard? Huh? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is my email address. There's not a speck of dust anywhere. It's got lights everywhere. I don't understand it. There's lamps on all over the place. No one, and his electricity bills, what is it, £60 a month? I don't know what it is, something like that. It's quite high. And these lights go off and on throughout the night. And I'm like, why is that light going on? It's creating an atmosphere, he says. And the candles burning everywhere. He's a proper puff, you know. An absolute proper puff. He has his hair cut every other week. He wears all these designer clothes. You have never seen so many shirts in a cupboard in your life. And these are not like shirts that I wear, you know, £10. He won't think anything of spending £75, £85 on one blooming shirt. And trainers. He's got endless amounts of trainers outside the front door. I can make a pair of trainers last for about 3 years. Yeah. In fact, I've got slippers here, right? And I'm very, very disappointed with these. These slippers are only about 9 months old. And look, the end seems to have come away from the bottom of the slipper. I'm not happy. Not happy at all. How on earth has that happened? I'm sure this happened to me once before, and I fixed it somehow with the glue gun. £10 these cost. They don't make them like they used to. Look! The sole has come away from the top of the slippers. Has that happened to you before? Most annoying. I know why this happened. Because quite often I go out in the garden with my slippers on. Do you ever do that? Do you do gardening in your slippers? I bet you do, don't you? Have you got a garden? Those of you that got gardens, do you do gardening or walk out on damp mornings into the garden with your slippers on? That's what's done it, isn't it? It must have done. I don't think they've been stitched together properly. It's a liberty, that's what it is. Where are these made? And it says made in the UK. Dreadful. Wouldn't have had this problem if they'd been made in China, you know. They make stuff proper there. Oh, terrible workmanship. Anyway, I suppose what I could do is get an elastic band and put it around the front there. Would that keep it together? I wonder if I've got an elastic band somewhere. Just a minute now. I've got this little red thing full of things, you know, pens and we got safety clips there. I might pierce my lip later and have a safety pin through it. What do you reckon? Is that quite fashionable? I don't know why I give a safety. Oh, I don't seem to have one. Must be one in here somewhere. I usually used to have elastic bands. I can't find one in there now, unfortunately. 1 minute. Put that back there. No elastic bands in there. Oh, how disappointing. Well, I'll have to fix it. I'm not buying a new pair. Not yet. Not even I had those a year. What? God. Anyway, that's a bit about my friend Ron. And I had noticed there is still an Easter egg in his fridge. Now, let me tell you a bit more about Ron. He's very healthy eating and he goes to the gym. He does all that business, you know. Oh, he rings up and tells me, I got up at 7 o'clock this morning. I went to the gym first. Gym, 7 o'clock in the morning. Do you do that? Is there anyone actually listening to the show very, very early in the morning while on a treadmill in a gym? I don't know how people can do that. As soon as they don't have breakfast, they get up, they get dressed, and they go to the gym. How do you do that? There's no, like, warm-up, is there? I mean, even when you drive a car off, okay, you start, you start, it has to get going, doesn't it? I just don't understand how people can go to the gym 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning before they've done anything else. Where does your energy come from? Because I'm not functioning at that point at all. Systems are all offline. My body repair systems are fully operational while I am asleep. Repairing the damage done from all sorts of bacteria and viruses that have tried to enter my body. It's a liberty, that's what it is. And some of them are probably in there. It's a combination of things. That's what it is, James Dean. It's a combination of things that are going on while I'm asleep in my bed. Terrible. Don't know how people can do that first thing in the morning, go to the gym. James Dean goes to the gym. James Dean, he hosts a podcast as well. Matinee Show. Is it the? Oh, I've forgotten again. It might be the matineeshow.co.uk or matineeshow.co.uk. He goes to the gym as well. So I don't know if he goes at 6 o'clock in the morning. I think he goes after work. I mean, I don't know if it's worse or better, really. You know, you've done an entire day's work and then you go to the gym and get even more tired. What's the point of it all? For my fitness, I go walking, I go cycling, and I what's the other thing I do? Swimming, of course. I do swimming. That's what I do. But I usually do it. I have breakfast. I come up and do some bits and pieces, and then I go swimming. You know, so it's not like rushed or first thing in the morning or last thing at night. Awful. Talking of cycling, actually, when I went to have my hair cut just a couple of days ago, I cycle to the hairdressers. It's about 20 minutes there. And I can't believe it, right? I got on my bike, off I went, 20 minutes there. You know, you're not too puffed out when you got there. Walked into the hairdressers, put my hand in my pocket, and guess what? Left me money at home. How stupid is that? Have you ever done that? So I had to cycle 20 minutes back, picked up my money, cycled 20 minutes back there again, and then 20 minutes home at the end of it. I was very, very fit yesterday. These muscles are even getting bigger. I won't be able to get those swimming trunks over them, you know. No chance at all. So, do you go down the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning? How on earth do you do that? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is my email address. He also eats healthily, my mate Ron. Very healthily. He came round with his other half here about 6 weeks, a couple of months ago, and I'd done them dinner. Chicken. Oh no, wouldn't have any chips, would he? Wouldn't have any. Won't eat potatoes or bread. He says bread is evil. So he came round. He had chicken and rice, and then I did a lovely blueberry crumble. I like blueberries, which incidentally have come down in price again. They shot up in price a while ago. They were £3.99 a punnet, dear. £3.99 a punnet for some blueberries. It's shocking. Ripped off left, right and centre we are. Well, they've gone down in price to £1.99. So I've got a few of those in the fridge at the moment. But I done this blueberry crumble, right? So I presented it to him with custard. He's sitting there. Honestly, he sat there with his other half, scraping the crumble off the top and the custard and just trying to eat the blueberries. You've never seen anything like it. I think it's rudeness, really. How dare they? My other friend, Wayne, I know Wayne, who's in Reading. Remember we spoke about him last time? He lives in that dreadful place called Reading, here in Berkshire. Not Royal Berkshire. Reading is in Berkshire. Bracknell is in Royal Berkshire. Two completely different places, dear. He lives in hard-to-let properties in Reading. And I know, Wayne, if I invited you round here, which I won't because you're from Reading, but if I did, I know that you'd be happy. You'd be happy and grateful to eat my blueberry crumble and custard in its entirety, possibly 3 or 4 portions. Honestly, he sat there with the spoon teasing. He was teasing the blueberries out of the bowl. He won't eat crisps, and he tells me my weight problem. He says I've got to stop eating bread, potatoes, crisps, sweets, chocolate, all that. I said, can I have 1 slice of bread a day before bed? He said, no, absolutely not. If you want to have bread, you've got to have it before 12 in the afternoon. Because apparently the carbohydrates sit there all night otherwise while you're in bed. Which is a bit funny, really. I mean, I had a slice of toast last night before I went to bed. I went into bed, I didn't feel anyone sitting on my stomach. Not even when I woke up. So I don't know what he's going on about there. But in his fridge, when I went in there yesterday to get the milk out to make some tea with my decaffeinated tea bags, In his fridge is a Smarties chocolate Easter egg, which is clearly still there from Easter. And every time I go in the fridge, I said, "Come on, let me have a bit of that egg." And it belongs to it belongs to his other half. You see, that's the thing. So he won't let me have it. But one day, you know, I'll be up there, and he'll get a bit tired and possibly go for a sleep in the bedroom and leave me in the living room. And I'll go in that. I will go in that fridge and have that egg. I am going to. I'll leave. You know, I won't have his egg and leave nothing. I'll leave a £5 note or something in the fridge with a little thank you note. I said, "Go, have you got any biscuits last night?" He said, "There's no biscuits or anything." He said, "There's an apple in the fridge." I mean, I do eat apples. Well, I've just started eating apples again. But now and again, you like a biscuit, don't you? A biscuit or two, or a bag of cheese and onion crisps. I didn't do too well yesterday, I'm afraid. I was a little bit naughty with the crisps. I had a family bag. I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. I had a family... This was after the 4 cycle trips. Remember, I had cycled for an hour and 20 minutes yesterday. Not through choice, through incorrect use of my money packet, my money holder thing. I had to go back, didn't I? And then on the way back, I popped up to Sainsbury's, and I had a family bag of Phileas Fogg cheese and onion crisps. Oh, they were delicious, dear. Oh, they were nice. They were they were gorgeous crisps. I very rarely do that. I'm allowed to make a little mistake like that now and again. Surely, don't tell him whatever you do, because he'd go mad if I tell him that. Oh dear. So I must have that egg in the fridge. I mean, it's been there for 2 months, dear. It's wasting away in it. It'll go off. I told him he won't let me near that egg. So that's that. Okay. Oh yes, we were talking about gardening a little while earlier. I went back down the garden centre and I think I told you I bought some more pepper plants. I've got 10 out there now. Now, do you remember I was having trouble germinating my pepper seeds? Well, just before I came on to do the show today, I had a quick look in the airing cupboard, and guess what? They are now... Actually, let me go and get them. Stay there a minute. My pepper plants have started germinating. 1 minute. Right. Now, just a minute. There we are. Pepper plants, that's it. My pepper plants, at last, have started germinating in the airing cupboard. And there's quite a few coming up now, so I'm quite pleased about that. At last, because I thought the seeds might have gone rotten, but there we are. I don't know if they're a bit late now, actually, because here we are, you know, second week in May, aren't we? So whether or not they'll be too late, but I have got some grown plants as well in the garden, so that's what I'm doing. And I also thought I'd have a go at peas. I've never grown... Oh, yes, I did. I did grow peas once, without much success, unfortunately. Now, although I've got a garden, all the tomatoes, the peppers, and the peas, I'm growing them in pots, large pots, because there's a lot in the garden, really, and there's not really enough space for all these things, unless I dig up some of the lawn. It's not a massive garden. I don't really like doing that. So I've put them all in pots, and they're all growing nicely. And you will see those, actually, when we move out into the garden, when the weather gets a bit nicer. Okay? We like to do quite a few shows from the garden in the summertime. It has been quite nice recently. Actually, today, I think I could... No, it's little bit windy to do the show. We can't do it when it's windy outside, because you get lots of into the microphone and you can't hear a damn thing. So there we are. Trying peas. And the peas as well, again, in a large pot with sticks. And I shall let you know, I'm looking forward to my harvest. See, I'm wishing away the summer now, aren't I? Because you won't get anything until the end of summer, beginning of autumn, really. So mustn't wish away the summer like that. Anyway, that's my news. I think that's everything. My nephew Gary He's 24, and his girlfriend Stacey was staying, was it a couple of weeks ago now? Oh, yeah, it's a couple of weeks ago now. It's gone quick, isn't it? They had a nice time while they were here. And Gary, I think for the first time, came into one of the places I work, one of the gay clubs, and is convinced that everyone was looking at him while he was in there. Well, I've got news for you, Gary. They were actually looking at me. Okay? They were looking at Uncle Chris. He came in there so quiet. I don't know what the problem is. Why are people like that when they come in gay clubs? They sit there all quietly, wondering what's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. You might get chatted up if you're lucky. It used to happen to me. Not more recently, though, unfortunately. He says they were all looking at me. No, they weren't. No one was looking at you, actually, if you don't mind me saying so. Oh, dear me. Right. Let's go on to some emails. We ended last week's show, the last show, with an email from young Chris, who hosts a podcast. And he was talking about a little town in Kent where Nicky French lives, who is a popular singer, Nicky French, who we all know here on United Kingdom Talk, and indeed on Matinee Show. And he says about the town of Tenterden in Kent, most of the shops are clothes shops there of unfamiliar name. He likes the shops in this particular area because there are very few chain shops, apparently. They are all individual, as it used to be, of course, here in the UK. You know, you could... this was the whole idea of travelling to other places, and you get different experiences with your shopping. Unfortunately, now we have the large shopping centres, and it doesn't matter where you go in the country, all the shops are the same. And it's as boring as hell. It really is. Do you remember going to little seaside resorts and you'd find these little shops and selling trinkets and little bits and pieces, and it was just so nice, and all different individual shops, lovely, and it's all disappearing fast. Well, apparently, not in Tenterden. He says, I mean, most of the shops are clothes shops of unfamiliar name, and you know what they say? If you can't see the price of the item, then you can't afford it. Will you speak for yourself, dear? God, I work hard for my cash. Well, Tenterden is full of them. You've got to have a little bit of money to live there. I mean, please. What normal middle-class town has one supermarket that happens to be Waitrose? Quality Waitrose. We know it's quality. He says, my podcast, The Rant, is now back after a short break. You can find it here, and if you'd like to listen to his podcast, young Chris Willis, his address is the-rant. Oh, he likes to make a point of saying it's a hyphen, not a dash. Oh, what's the difference? It's a little line, isn't it? Halfway up the line of other letters. Of course it's a dash. Dear me. That's a hyphen, he says. The-rant.co.uk or the-rant.co.uk. It's all the same, Chris. Stop nitpicking. Thank you, Chris, all right? Put that over there. I'm afraid the new studio is becoming messy again. Gradually, papers are building up everywhere that need to be dealt with. Trouble is, I don't file anything. Oh God, I deal a little bit in. I don't deal, but I do have a little bit of property as well. God knows how I'm ever going to sell any of that stuff because I don't know where any of the paperwork or any of it is. I just can't do. You're not made to do certain things, are you? And one of the things I'm not made to do is file. Gah. In the filing cabinets and all that. I don't know. Right. Let's see. It's Irving Distiller, Wayne Anonymous, Facebook's in, and message. I have got Facebook, incidentally. Chris Reardon London is my Facebook if you want to add me there. You always get all the updates of the show as well, okay? Chris Reardon London. And Irvin writes, must see TV. Chris said that he plans on spending his winters in Spain. Yeah, well, not quite yet. When I get older, I might just do that. Dressed as abroad. He expects the single male pensioners to pay for his meals and buy his drinks. That is what I call cost control. Do you know what? I've never been... you do see people like that in bars. You know, their opening line is, "Are you going to buy me a drink?" I see it all the time, and they get the drink and then they walk off. Oh, it's dreadful. I don't know how people can be like that, but they are. I've seen it so many times, girls and boys alike. "Are you going to buy me a drink?" Not me, dear. God, so we won't get a drink out of me. I think I did buy a drink once in 1982. I was in a bar somewhere, and I bought... I bought a drink. Dear me. Let's see. Have I got this wrong here? Oh yes, that's the wrong email there, I think. Yes, wrong email. That's for someone else. Here she is. It's Millie. Motorised Millie. Good evening, Millie. All right, my darling. And she says, "Hi, Chris. I really enjoyed the show a couple of weeks ago with Nikki French. Unlike some of the so-called stars that we see today, she is very genuine and very down-to-earth, and I hope we get to hear her new track in the USA. Give Katie her usual cuddle for me, and of course I will send you one as well." Now, what is all this with cuddles and hugs, Millie? Katie doesn't know you, dear. Does she? She doesn't know you, dear. So how can I say this is from Millie? She doesn't know you. I don't understand that. Or does it say, what's the other thing you do? Oh, you said, say hi to Nikki from it. But she doesn't know you yet, dear. You have to email and become friends before I can say, "Oh, so-and-so says hello." How do they know you, Millie? Thank you, Millie. Always a pleasure to hear from you, my darling. I seem to have got these emails a bit mixed up here. Ooh. Here's one from Andy Musson. Another one that's come via Facebook. And Andy writes, "Thank you, Chris, for doing that wonderful interview with Nikki French a couple of weeks ago. What a great interview it was. A very cheerful interview, and it brightened up this dull Saturday morning." Well, thank you for that, Andy. Not so much an interview, was it, though? It was more of a chat. More of a chat between two friends, I think, and that's we enjoyed it. We enjoyed doing that show very much. Okay, if you missed the show with Nikki French, our singer, as always, you can find any of the old shows, and it's about 6 or 7 shows ago now. You can find them by going to the main United Kingdom Talk website. That's at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, and then just go back 6 or 7 shows, and you'll see the one with Nikki French here, which I have to say was one of my favourite shows programmes that I'd ever made. It was such a pleasure having her here and chatting away. All right. Now, yes, another one from Millie here. I seem to have got the emails a little bit mixed up today. I think we're going backwards in time rather than forwards. Yes, I am, actually. We are going backwards instead of forwards here. I'm not quite sure how this has happened, but not to worry. Millie says, "Hello. Regarding Gary and his problem with his weight." That's my nephew. Because he is quite a bit overweight, and I don't, it doesn't affect the way he looks or anything, but I am concerned about his health. And as we all know, being overweight is not good for health. Okay, it's really not. Millie says, "I understand your worry. I would be the same way if the shoe was on the other foot. Having said that, though, Gary is in his 20s, and at that age, they think they know everything, as you've discovered." Yes, I know that. Yeah, you do. I don't know, actually. Did I? Yeah, probably, I suppose. Probably I did, yeah. Hopefully he'd come to a decision on his own, fingers crossed. Yes, well, he'll have to. he'll have to decide himself, because you see, it's until people admit to the fact, yes, I'm overweight, or it's like people who take drugs, until they say, well, yes, I have a bit of a problem, I need to get off it, or I need to do something about it. Until people admit that, you can't help. You just can't help. I don't know what else to say, really, about that now. If you're overweight in general, most people are not overweight because of a medical condition. They're just not. I think most people are overweight because they eat too much. It's as simple as that. Or they don't exercise enough. Some people can't exercise. So that's a reasonable excuse, isn't it? If you can't exercise, maybe you're weighed up in bed with some sort of sickness or whatever, and you can't exercise, well, fair enough. But I think most people who are able-bodied do know why, when they sit down and think about it, they know where that weight's coming from. It's coming from all the sweets or all the fried food. Or even if you don't eat fried food, if, for example, you make all your own food, and one of those items might be potatoes. If you put half a pound of butter in those potatoes, well, do you see what I mean? You've got to think about these things. And it's no use. A lot of people who are overweight convince themselves that they are actually slim. And it's just ridiculous. It's damaging their health. How do you get over that one? I don't know. I consider myself overweight, as you know. Although I haven't weighed myself today. But I'm not unfit. I do the exercise and all that business. Although I would still like to lose a bit. My problem is portion sizes. I do have too large portions, usually. But a lot of the food I eat has changed recently. Much more fruit and veg now than I ever had. And I always had a little bit of it. So perhaps that'll change. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. As far as my trip to London, we've now applied for passports and are waiting for them to come through. So everything is coming along nicely. Yes, Millie. I actually spoke to James Dean about your visit, and I'm trying to arrange when we choose a day. When we choose a day to visit. Or whatever. We'll try and do it with James Dean, so we can both of us at the same time, which might be nice. Okay. So that's it. There we are. You see, and now, Millie, you finish it again. Look, give my love to Joy and Axon. She doesn't know you, Joy. How can I give your love to them, darling? If she doesn't know you, you know what I mean? You say, Millie sends a love. Who's she? She go. Who's she? You like to spread the love, dear, don't you? You like to spread the love. Thank you. Hello to Jeremy. All right, Jeremy. He says, terribly sorry. Thought you wouldn't have a problem with the TRX initials. Jeremy wrote a while back now. And within his email, he put TRX. And I'm kind of looking at the map, trying to work out what TRX meant, because we didn't have a clue. He said, I wasn't actually talking about a geographical location, but Talk Radio X. So sorry about that, Jeremy. Don't use abbreviations. It's the worst thing, dear. People use abbreviations and no one's got a clue what they're talking about. He says, I didn't take into account your international superstar status, and the rest, that you're probably syndicated everywhere. Well, the show, I've been, luckily, fortunately, and very kindly, if I may say so, this programme is played out by a few different radio stations, and it is very much appreciated. It works both ways, They kind of appreciate that you're doing a show. And from my part, I'm not complacent. I appreciate any station that plays the show out. I appreciate the fact that we can have more people to join in. So I do appreciate that. There are some people that are a little bit above themselves sometimes, and I think, they think they're more important than the station. Not at all. Not at all. Certainly not the case here. I appreciate anyone who plays out the station, or indeed, or anyone who does anything for me. You know, some people just take you for granted, don't they? Huh? There are certain places I've DJ'd at before, and I find that quite often you're taken for granted rather than appreciated, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Some would argue, yeah, but you're being paid for it. No, it's not the point at all. Not the point at all. I need to feel appreciated. And I also need to feel needed, so to speak. If I'm working at a venue, DJing, karaoke, whatever, if I'm working somewhere and I don't feel that I am actually required there, even though I must get on really well with whoever's in charge and everything's hunky-dory, if I think to myself, you know, I'm playing these records and they really don't need a DJ, then I usually do something about it because it's wasting their money and it's also wasting my time, really, where I could be working somewhere else where I am required. Do you understand? It's very difficult to understand. And I know it's almost sometimes like cutting your own throat there, because you can be in a really cushy number and give it up because you just don't feel that you're getting any satisfaction out of it and you're not required. Now, I've got a new job starting I think it's next week actually, in Birmingham. A place called Route 2 in Birmingham. I'm going to be doing Friday nights there. And the reason I brought that up then was because to do that job, I'm going to have to leave the Steam Coach in Hemel Hempstead, which is where my very good friend Justin runs the pub. So why have I done that? Because I don't feel... We've been there now 5 or 6 years, and I don't feel I am required there anymore. Yes, I'm playing the music, but it's kind of, you know, it doesn't matter to the people there whether I'm there or not. Do you understand what I mean? The customers are lovely, don't get me wrong. The staff... Oh, we have such a laugh with the staff. The manager, one of my best friends. But he's like paying me, and I'm thinking, why are you paying me for this job? You don't need me here. And so, therefore, and it's been a little bit quiet there recently, money-wise, as many venues are. So I took the decision to look around for another job without telling him. Now I've got one, and so we move on. And in this job, you must move on when it's time. You've got to see the signs that perhaps a job has been very good, but now is not. And the time at the venue has now passed. Usually it doesn't come back. Once it's gone, it's moved on. Do you understand what I mean? And I'm old enough to see that now. I have left other places before when I thought, okay, that's done now. That's finished now. A place in Camden, I was there for 18 years. And then I decided, no, that's done now. That's finished. Let's move on. If you can do that, then that's good. Some people hold on to their jobs. Unfortunately, the job in Birmingham, one of my friends has taken that place over and has already sacked or moved on 2 of the other people that were there. One, I don't know anyone up there whatsoever. I've never worked in Birmingham. And it's always a shame that happens. But unfortunately, it's the nature of the business. And if you didn't want to... If you can't accept that, then you shouldn't be doing it. You should be getting a job where you're reasonably safe. Although it has to be said, what jobs are safe now? You know, I don't know, work in the post office or a supermarket. I assume that's fairly safe. But the job I do is always, you don't know. Tomorrow the phone could ring in a minute with any of the venues and say, thanks very much, Chris, that's it, now finished. It's happened before. It has happened before, where a job's come to an end, you get that phone call, that's it. You have to accept it. And you mustn't feel anger towards the next person who's taking over. You probably won't even know who it is, unless there's been some undermining things going on, like whether you've been undercut with the wages. That happened to me once. I was at a venue in London for a number of years, and then someone come along and undercut me by a very large amount, a huge amount, by 2/3 actually. So I was on a certain level. Okay? Say it was on a scale of 1 to 10, I was at number 10. That was what I was being paid. He came along and offered to do it for 2.5, 3. But when that happens, I have to say to you, there's a certain amount of satisfaction that you get when 2 weeks later that venue empties. And the funny thing is, quite often, when a manager of a venue has clearly got it wrong, he won't admit to it. And he won't do anything to fix the problem either. It's just madness, really. I don't see how that's good business sense. And indeed, there was a couple of venues where I was pushed from, and both of them emptied out. The other one closed within a year. No, don't get me wrong now. I'm not saying that was because of me, right? But it is quite nice when that happens, when sort of it goes a bit quiet. And it sometimes does when someone's been there long enough. But when managers do, and they do get things wrong, they try and cut costs. They cut costs. And then it goes wrong. But they don't then pick up the phone and say, oh, I got it wrong, do you want to come back? They do, oh no, they couldn't possibly do that. Save face like that. Couldn't do it, could they? And unfortunately, the place in Birmingham I've gone up to, I haven't seen this myself, but apparently, and I've no idea who's been moved so that I can be given a job and someone else who's gone up there. I've no idea, whatever. But unfortunately, there's been a lot of chat, and because people have lost their jobs and they've been there so long and this, that and the other. And yeah, it's awful. It's awful when you've lost a job because a new manager wants to try something else. But that is the nature of the business. That's what happens. It's happened to me. And you just have to accept it and you move on. You have to. I did. You have to just accept it and move on, because that's the way it is. I gather that there's been all sorts of little bits on the internet about this. But, I mean, if I think you might make yourself look a little bit, I don't know, by putting your views across on a forum on the internet about what's happened. I certainly wouldn't. You just wouldn't do it, because I think it makes you look a bit, I don't know what the word would be, really. Do you see what I'm saying, though? You lose a job, okay, thanks for the work, and you move on. That's it. I think maybe as you get older as well, you kind of accept this thing. It's horrible. It really is awful to perhaps have given so much of your time to a place only to be told, thanks very much, but. It's the way it is, though. New people come along. They want to try new things. In this case, I'm one of the new things, and so is someone else. There was Yeah, I mean, that's it. There's nothing else to say about that, really. So looking forward to that little Friday night I'll be doing in Birmingham. I hope people will like it. Don't know. Bit of a long drive. I think it's about an hour and 3/4, 2 hours to go up there. But we'll see how it is. Because I did say to the governor, look, let me just book in for one and let's see how the journey is first. Of course, I can always take up some little podcasts with me, which I like to do, taking up the podcasts. Right. Sorry, I've gone completely away from this email now, haven't I? Jeremy. He says, superstar status. Saying this, I bet you want to put on your Elton John superstar sunglasses and delegate this email to one of your lovely publicists. I don't have a publicist, I'm afraid. It's only me. That's it. It's all a one-man show here, dear. He says, so I'm a listener from Talk Radio X, but I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, 6500, is it? Or 65,000? I don't know. Do you have any listeners from Pittsburgh yet? Yes, we have. Oh, what's his name now? I haven't heard from him for so long. Austin. That's it, Austin. I'm sure he was from Pittsburgh. After you mentioned it, I'm going to have to say, my God, you're right. Your face is terribly lopsided. What an unfortunate handicap. I beg your pardon. My recommendation is that from now on, you broadcast your YouTube cast entirely from just the right-hand half of your face or from the left half of your face. It could be the Chris Reardon profile show. Or we could try that. Just a minute. Shall we do this? The rest of the show will be from the left-hand side of my face, so I'm not actually going to look at the camera. I don't know if that works or not. If you're watching on YouTube, you may now have noticed something that you haven't noticed before, and that is the size of my nose. Have you seen it? And you know what they say about people with large noses, don't you? That's right, they have no problem breathing. I don't think that's going to work, Jeremy. Doing a whole show from the side of my face, dear me. He says, it could be the Chris Reardon profile show. If this doesn't suit you, you could always buy one of those Phantom of the Opera masks to cover the half of your face to compensate for the facial disparity. The Phantom of the Opera is there inside your mind. And at that moment, the thing comes. What's that? The candle? No, not the candelabra. The what's that thing in the middle of the ceilings with all the nice lights? Oh, I can't remember what that's called now. Chandelier. That's it. The chandelier comes crashing down onto the stage. Yes. We love the Phantom of the Opera. Jeremy says, seriously though, it's not something I'd worry about. Nature does not favour symmetry. Not like in my mate Ron's house, everything is symmetrical. 3 pictures there, 1, 2, 3, or 6 pictures there, 4 over there, 2 of everything. Oh, he's so symmetric. Nature does not favour symmetry, and you'll notice that after staring at people's faces for a while. They do seem to have a difference between the right half and the left half of their faces. I wouldn't stare at them on the subway, though. It's difficult to make your escape from them once they've noticed you're analysing their unfortunately crooked faces. I myself has made a compensation for my crooked face. The most noticeable thing about it to me is that my left eyebrow is much higher than my right eyebrow. Well, you must look like Spock from Star Trek. Incidentally, Jeremy, have you seen that yet? I told you 3 times now, go and see Star Trek. You will love it. You will. Let me just work something out. Just a minute. I'm looking at my clock here because we're nearly done now, aren't we? God, it goes so quick. I noticed this while practicing the Spock eyebrow. There you go, in the mirror, where you just lift one eyebrow at yourself. I can do that. My compensation for this is that I've put a rather large barbell-shaped piercing. Oh, why do you pierce your body through my left eyebrow so that the disparity will seem intended? Making your face seem intentionally asymmetrical is much better than it seemed like it happened on accident, right? And that's from Jeremy from TRX. Thank you, Jeremy. Oh, don't start sticking pins and things through your face. What's all that about? And people they have nipple rings, don't they? They put them, or bars that they put through their nipples. Oh, don't it? It must hurt doing all that. I did have earrings once. I did have earrings, yeah. It's Mitchell. Hello, Mitchell. Who says, man, that sucks about the letter you got from the council about feeding the birds. Feed the birds, tuppence a bag. Well, as I've mentioned on the last show, Mitchell, it appears that it wasn't just me who got that letter. It was everyone in this sort of area. I thought it was directed towards me. But no, other people must be feeding those birds. But I now feed them in my back garden. So don't worry. Those little creatures are getting their little stomachs full from yours truly. Mitchell says, about the magpies, that they're the big birds that are flying around all the time. I didn't know that they bullied other birds out of their homes. Yes, they do. They kick the eggs out. But I don't think magpies build their own nests. They take over other birds' nests. Yes. He says, I remember I had a bag of Cheetos in my bed on my pickup truck. I went back to get it a few hours later and it was empty. I could not figure it out. Then my co-worker told me that magpies do that. Yes, they do. Damn birds ate everything and left me the refuse. And that's from Mitchell. Oh my God, I'm out of time. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you on the next show. From myself, Chris Reardon. A quick finish. Bye-bye.